could be a long one, gentlemen, but what's your impressions after seeing the full draft?
Definitely newbie. I think. I think newbie definitely won the draft. It just feels well rounded compared to liquids.
Yeah, I agree. I actually think newbie would have been even stronger with a disruptor. I like that call, but Nyx probably will work as well. I think newbie is a good draft.
We'll have to see how things do pan out. It looks like we're set and ready to go for game number 1 of Liquid versus Newbie. We'll send it over ringside to our casters. It's Odie, Pixel, and Draskell.
Thank you very much, Dakota. Here we have it, Newbie versus Team Liquid. We've seen the draft, Sandy. We're going to have some exciting stuff, some potential late-game action going on between these two titans at the moment. Meeting in the lower bracket, of course, as mentioned. This could have been a grand final matchup. Before TI, I think a lot of people would have pitched this as the grand final matchup. But we've got it here. We're ready to go. What do you think? Obviously, the panel unanimous with their decision. Do you agree or disagree? Who's got the edge here with the draft?
I think the Knicks' last pick just destroys Liquid's entire team. Like, if you look at the way the Ember Spirit plays, you have Flame Guard. You can just be in Vendetta. You can pop Carapace. You stun him before he even can react, and then you get a free Impale. Sand King, you can stun him out of his Sandstorm because you have obviously Impale and Carapace. That's the same thing. You can do it to Coddle Blast. You can do it to Miranda Starstorm. It's like, this is probably one of the best games to be Nyx I think I've ever seen. So I am definitely favoring Newbie in the draft. I do think that there's some room for the Sand King to do work though, because in a lot of these fights you really only have like one form of initiation, and that's Newbie with a lasso, and then having a Lifestealer inside of him, you know, the standard bomb. And then you're going to have this counter initiation from Sand King that we've seen in the past throughout TI Sticks just be completely devastating. So maybe that's what Liquid are looking to do. Absolutely.
And of course, talking about the Knicks pick as well, it's none other than Chuan to be playing it. And Chuan, some of the games we've seen in the group stage, he's had some remarkable performances on heroes like the Lion, the Disruptor, looking to set up. And Nyx Assassin kind of fits into that role as well. So we can expect to see a lot of stuff come out from Chuan.
Yeah, I'm hoping that he has a standout performance, because I do play a little bit of Nyx myself, and I enjoy watching the heroes, so... Looks like everything is going as expected. It's going to be the KP Naga. And Newbie, they have a very interesting lineup in the sense that they can fight pretty much at a very early stage in the game. See a little bit of skirmish here for the rune.
Absolutely, we see both teams eyeing up the top lane. Got the number advantage on Newbie, so they'll be able to secure it for KP. And indeed, as we get into the lanes, the setup at the moment, 2-1-2 coming out from Liquid, and the more orthodox lanes, by the looks of it, from Newbie. I mean, in terms of the lanes, you talked about the draft, you said you like what Newbie are doing, but overall, lane-wise, are we going to see a team come out with an edge?
Looking at the way it's shaping up right now, Black mentioned on the panel that you always want to give KP a pretty easy lane. I think against a Mirana, it shouldn't be too bad for him, as long as he gets to the bottle relatively uncontested. They're actually giving Chuan a 1v2, but I don't think that this lane... Oh, see a burrow here at top.
Already, looking for the aggression on Take. Score up, and then the disruption. He's actually going to use it to hold back the SK. Perhaps actually going to keep himself alive now. Hal turning onto Kuroki. He's got another turret, so Hal won't be able to chase it. But already we can see Liquid just piling on the dangers to that disruptor, as well as to the Shadow Team. He's got to be careful in this lane, because anytime he comes close, once they hit level 2, Kuroki and Mind Control, they could jump on that S3.
Yeah, it's a tremendous amount of damage they can do between the two of them, and it's only going to get worse. And because of the fact that it's a melee core farming against a Sand King, you know, Mind Control is eventually going to start getting points in a Caustic, and that's going to make things even a bit more hairy. So Liquid, they have a bit of an advantage here in this top lane, and they definitely have more kill potential, but they need to be careful not to overextend.
Absolutely, and of course the way, as you said, with the bat from maybe going straight into the jungle, on the fact you've got Chuan immediately on that bottom lane soaking at XP. If Liquid aren't able to punish the lanes heavily enough, surely Newbie's just going to find more in terms of efficiency in this early game.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, Liquid just don't have really the heroes to contest. If you want to do this dual off lane and have Kuro sitting top, there's no way that he can reliably go contest Moo, and if he leaves, then I don't think Mind Control is going to be getting much either. The Shadow Demon will have a lot easier time zoning him out, and there's a sacrifice that they're going to have to make during the laning phase. They either choose to go stop the Bat Rider from getting farm, or they stay up here and try to keep the Lifestealer down. And right now, they're prioritizing the latter.
And in terms of Moo on the bat, getting a decent timing on the Blink Dagger, how hurtful is that going to be for Liquid's lineup? Are they going to be able to deal with a bat looking to make those initiations early on if he gets a decent timing?
I mean, it's definitely scary. An early Blink on a Bat Rider is going to be terrifying no matter what team composition you have. They do have X and an instant stun with the Sand King. but I mean, I'm assuming that Mind Control's Blink Dagger might be a little bit slower, just because Bat Jungle is extremely fast nowadays. You know, you see him now, he's got like a triple stack going on. So I don't think his Blink Dagger time is going to be too off.
Playing, going on to Hal. Actually used the rage, but Kaka disrupted to hold that Mind Control. Kuroki, still 6 seconds before he's got it, but the Torn just needs to touch him, and Kuroki with the plays. In fact, they may find another Kaka. He's already used the disruption, is still on cooldown for 10, and no chances. Kuroki picks up a double kill in the top lane. The exact plays Liquid need during this laning stage to punish Newbie's decision of having that sole position in the jungle straight up.
That's the kill potential that we spoke of. When the heroes start getting levels, having extra points and a costing especially.
Chuan in a bit of trouble, does get the stun onto the Timmerman. He's coming through, one more touch. Oh, Liquid get it off. Jarrett's couldn't quite find the last right click. Now back look. He's looking for Jarrett. Jarrett's popped the mana leak, but already moved with the damage. 3 stacks, and Napalm can't quite do it. They're going to hold him back. He's like, move away. Might be able to find that Keeper the Light kill. He's continuing to move over, but Jarrett's hiding in the trees. He's going to be fine, but already we can see very, very close to Illuminate. Move's got to be careful. He's out of mana. Let's see if he sticks around in the lane for a little bit as Chuan tag team back to base. Looks like that's going to be the case. Still top lane, Kuroki and Mind Control keeping the pressure onto Hal. And we can see CS-wise Mind Control keeping himself comparable easily with the light stealer. 13 for 0 on Hal, 12 for 5 on Mind Control. This top lane is looking pretty good for Liquid.
This is kind of the shining hope of their game plan. I think that Newbie, like during the mid-late game, probably still have a slight advantage, but if they can crush this lane and they get the really early Blink Dagger on Mind Control, the dynamic of the game can be completely turned around. Because middle lane is more or less a wash. Like the Naga's out farming a little bit in regards to Fata, but we talk about all the time Mirana's base damage isn't necessarily great. You know, he even has a regen KP, so he's going to have an extremely easy time. And Mind Control just doesn't really have much to fear in top. If they disrupt him, the follow-up is a life stealer. That's not really the most threatening thing in the world, and you can just burrow strike away.
Absolutely, and he's got a Mango as well, just in case the mana's short, and he's still holding on to a Salve, so a lot of sustain in that top lane. And it's going to be hard for Newbie to punish that, at least until we see Mu get that timing on the Bat Rider and Dagger. Mid lane, matchup we've not really talked too much about, but it seems to be even Stevens at the moment. 26 for 4 on KP, over on Fada's Mirana, 23 for 6. Not much difference there. In fact, KP just going to head back into the jungle and choose to clear up some of the jungle camps. And so, of course, it's going to give a bit more lane for Fada in the mid lane to continue this very good start when it comes to CS. In top lane, we're looking for anything here. We could see the two of them moving close to Hal, making sure he doesn't disrupt the side pull too much. Hal's going to be able to play it careful enough, and we can see the positioning of the Shadow King just behind Hal in case he needs some backup. And the bottom lane is turned into a bit of a 2-on-2. Looks like Mu started to cement himself down here with Chuan, realizing that a little bit of pressure needs to be put on the Timberman, who, as we can see at the moment, top of the CS on his Ember Spirit.
It's still a relatively hard kill for them. The Timberman more or less needs to make a mistake if he's going to be dropping in this lane. My biggest concern still for Newbie is the fact that Mind Control is just getting a ridiculous amount out of his lane. He's already up 800 gold. He can go for Arcanes and probably still have a pretty decent blink timing at this rate. He's just farming so much to cost.
We're going to try and go on him, but as we can see, just burrow strikes away. It's a kill that Newbie are going to have a lot of trouble trying to get with these two heroes. Mind Control more than okay. And he's going to be able to remain in lane and keep that pressure on. But the question is when we start to see things turn again. Oh, how? Good one, taking a fair bit of damage, still has the rage and open wounds. But Liquid getting the harassment in. There's been a rotation from Fada. We'll see if he can set anything up the torn. Oh, beautiful up to 2. Mind Control comes in with a rage from Al. Looking to turn it around. He's already taken down. Now it's Picasso as well. They're going to find the second kill. This rotation from Fada on the Mirana is absolutely wonderful. X-Rod torn onto Chuan. The Burrow Strike won't quite catch the Nyx. They won't kill off Chuan, but a great rotation from Fada, making sure that this top lane goes from strength to strength. All 4 kills for the side of Liquid happening up on this safe lane from Newbie.
These torrents have been on point for Kuro, like setting up those kills. Attack. This is exactly the start that Liquid needs. They need to play fast tempo, force Newbie into an uncomfortable position. They're playing against a Naga Siren, they're playing against very good mid game from the side of Newbie once Mu gets that blink dagger going.
He's got to be careful if Kuroki comes across. He's very low. Looks like he will indeed back up away from Kuroki. I mean, as you said, the fast
Radiant's
tempo
middle
from Liquid
tower
that they
is
are
under
forcing.
attack.
How do you recover from this if you're a newbie? Or do you just look at the fact that whilst this is all going along on the top lane, KP is getting a fair bit of space on the Nagi. He's pretty much been
Dire's
interrupted for the
bottom
first 7
tower
minutes.
is under
I
attack.
mean, he is hitting a good amount of creeps, but his Radiance timing is still going to be, you know, post 15 minutes, most likely, at this rate, because he's only sitting on about 1,000 gold right now. So I would be a little bit uncomfortable if I were newbie. Now we're going to eat a stun here, but should be okay.
And you can see that Scotland has come up top as well. 3 of them on the side of Liquid. Barracks, mind control, and already been getting it on, and needs a bit of help. The Torrent gonna come out, but Hal's still with the range. Thinks himself in, jumps himself out, Mike's up with it back into the burst, but now he's TPing from Farder. But look to punish Hal, he's got no range and he's got no hurt. Liquid again outplaying newbie on this top lane.
That was such a good bait from Mind Control, like just waiting it out, realizing that he didn't want to stun on top of that and force how to overcommit and just buy time spot to CT. That's the kind of teamwork that Liquid have always had the potential of executing, but it
Radiant's
just seems
middle
like now,
tower is
even
under
changing
attack.
their game plan a bit, they just know exactly what they need to do.
5-0 at the moment for Liquid. A very, very strong start indeed. I mean, just looking at the comparison between the off-laners and the safe laners, about 1k in each terms when it comes between Mind Control and, of course, Tau and Matumba Matt. Mind Control, being hard up, but should be fine. He's got Burrow Strike available. Actually, it's going to be 3 coming in. And still, it's a kill that's very hard for newbie to get, and to have the lockdown on someone like Assassin. He's able to walk around them every time.
Dire's
There's not really a
tower
tremendous
is
amount of
under
catch until
attack.
the Nyx starts to get levels. Like, ideally, you want the Nyx to have level 6 Arcane's Blink. That's like his core. Once he has those, he can be very disruptive. But because of the fact that Chuan started in the off lane and then transitioned out of it very quickly, he didn't really
Dire's
get
middle tower
as many
is under
early levels
attack.
as I was kind of expecting.
Dire's
So he just hit level 5 right
structures
now.
are fortified.
And he still needs a little bit more time before he has enough of the Arcane. He can start contributing to the team.
The smoke from Liquid, it looks like they... Well, I think I'll be happy with whoever they find, but obviously KP being off the map for quite a bit. It would be a nice pick. They may just look to go for Hao again as they make a
Dire's
beeline for
middle
the top
tower
lane. He's
is
on
under
his own
attack.
at the moment. No backup. You see how Hao plays around this one. Liquid closing in. The Lifestealer in trouble. They just need the Torrent to begin it. Moonlight to allow them to close the gap even more. Hao, yeah, immediately going for the race CP. No messing around. And of course, no chance for Liquid to cancel that through the magic immunity as Hal's out.
Radiant's middle tower
Just
is
go
under
for this,
attack.
Aaron. Storm. Not quite enough damage. Squeaking in nonetheless. That bottom lane's where they could have given. They continue to try and make a jump in. The Tumaman's
Radiant's
got to be
bottom
careful.
tower
3 heroes
is under
here.
attack.
Mind Control hit the ball. And Liquid again finding another kill. This time, Newbie had 3 heroes in the area, but they were unable to do anything
Dire's
against
middle
the
tower
heroes
is
that
under
Liquid have
attack.
and the way that they're playing at this stage of the game.
Juan held on to his stun for a very, very long time, which means that he ended up getting a Searing Chains cast on him, and that more or less just resulted in his death. So a little bit of a misplay there by the
Dire's bottom
Nyx,
tower
but
is
still
under
Liquid are
attack.
just, they're rolling in this laning phase. So they have all the control of the world, they're reacting very quickly to any gank. It's been all Liquid so far here in the first 10 minutes.
Dire's bottom tower is under
To
attack.
take this tier 1 as well down bottom, and of course Newbie not going to react to that. They've got to let it go in this stage. Top lane, Mind Control, hanging around with Hal. Hal does have move
Dire's
on
bottom
the bed
tower
and the sidelines,
has
but
fallen.
already moving away, knowing they can't close the gap and get the catch onto this tanking at this stage. Lots of money indeed on the cause of Liquid. It's the exact start that they were hoping for, and when it comes down to a draft like this, it's the start that they need when they run this kind of team.
Absolutely. The amount of control that they have over the game is about where it needs to be. You know, getting the offlane tower is great. They're not necessarily amazing at hitting buildings, but they're very good at playing aggressive and getting kills. And sometimes that's all you need to be able to apply pressure to a team like Nudie. So for now, they're executing their game plan. Having that boat available on the country is going to be amazing. Like, you land an arrow into a Torrent boat, that's just like a guaranteed kill. A Torrent into an arrow is obviously good too. And at this point, you know, KP doesn't even have Solomon, so if somebody gets initiated off, they're pretty much dead.
And I guess at this point for Newbie, you just have to let Liquid take these down to towers.
Yeah, I don't think you can fight this. You're really waiting
Dire's
for the
middle
heroes to
tower
get
has
level 6,
fallen.
like the Shadow Demon, for example. I think Tuan just did it a little while ago, so I think we could start to see him move around a bit. And then obviously you're going to want the Naga to just farm up the Radiance. I'm not really finding a whole lot of things that Newbie can do to stop this aggression right now. Like, they really need Batrider Blink as well. That's another thing. Like he's at 1500 gold, and then, you know, he gets the Blink Dagger, maybe they go for a smoke with the Lifestealer and try to get a pick off and like regain control. But for now, I feel like that's kind of their only option unless Chuan is able to find something on the Nyx.
And of course, a lot of resting on KP to get that Radiance out. 2700 on his road towards the Relic. And as you said, a lot of eyes on Chuan to start making some movements, making some plays happen, as he's about to reach onto level 7. And then at that stage, I mean, are you then still waiting for the Blink Lasso as well, or can Chuan start to roam around the map, look to set things up on his own, or does he rely on having moves presence as well?
Well, if he moves around on his own now, he's really only going to be getting information. If he has teammates, though, they can definitely try to score kills that way. They do have a lane ward top, so they pretty much see all of Liquid's heroes. This could be an opportunity for them.
I'm talking about Blink Daggers, mind controls, just picks it up, jumps in, flips onto Moon, the arrow's going to be off the mark. Chuan coming in, and he's got a Howl inside. Oh, they've got a sentry down there, Liquid, they'll spot him out. He's keeping Chuan back. Making sure he can't make the jump, and he's actually out of mana, setting himself up, but Liquid surrounding the Nyx assassin, they'll take him down. Howl's inside, they immediately go to the rescue, but they might get the damage to kill him. No, not quite. I'll get set out, catch up. He's not going to be as lucky though, as the torrent comes in. Liquid surround the Shadow Demon, a killing spree for Fodder on his Mirana at this stage of the game. And just remarkable play off the back of this laning stage from Liquid as they'll turn this push into another Tier 1 tower at the top. And we could just see on the network how it's so poor this game at the moment on Lifestealer. He's only just above KuroKy's Kunka.
His lane was heavily contested, and there wasn't really anything that Newbie could do about it. Nyx is not a good lane supporter. Maybe though.
He's coming out the
Radiant's bottom tower
again.
is under attack.
Kill after kill after kill, and move. Is he going to be lucky enough to get away? Looks like they're just going to hold him back. They've got nothing left in the tank to throw at him. Top lane, Howl. He's on his own. How's got the rage, but TP's on cooldown. There's little escape for Howl. Hit the arrow. It's going to be juked off by the rage. It's going to continue to run Liquid. How heavy did they want to go on this? Not too heavy with the TP's coming in impact, but Timmerman. Oh! Remnants away just in time. But Newbie, they just can't quite get the bites onto Liquid. They're just one step ahead of them every time.
That was a really big misplay by Chuan. That's the second time he just holds onto his spell for a little bit too long. That should have been a guaranteed stun. That stun results in a kill, and a kill on one of the more important heroes on the side of Liquid. So I'm not sure if he's just not familiar with the hero, but
Maybe. Oh, it's a good job he doesn't go down there. Look at his gold. He just had enough for Relic.
well, he died when he had 3,900 earlier and lost like 300.
If he went down again, that would have been really, really bad for the Naga. But he picks up the Relic. First hurdle has been jumped.
As bad as this looks for Newbie, there still are opportunities for them to come back just because of that. Things like Batrider Blink, Naga delaying the game once the Radiance is done. But this is not going anywhere near according to plan for them. The safe lane got pressured way too hard. They weren't really able to react to it because Nyx is not that kind of hero who rotates until a little bit later. He's a bit of a greedier lane hero. So Liquid just punished it like unbelievably hard.
Absolutely. And I mean, just looking at the comparison, I know we've drawn it up before. But KuroKy and Howl, I mean, you know it's a bad game when the support Kunkas nearly got phase armlet before the Lifestealer.
It ain't great. It's probably, this is a lineup Kunka right now, you know? He always just has a tremendous amount of...
Howl beat him, but only just. KuroKy, I think he's just about a couple hundred away from the recipe. He's got the rest on Courier. So, very close between the two of them.
I'm glad to see them integrating different heroes into the lineup now and playing a very heavy, aggressive style. Seems to do very well against what Newbie have in the early game. Because, I mean, Nyx, he's an okay 1v1 laner and whatnot, but you're not going to see, like, Nyx TPing around the map very often at low levels and trying to make plays or anything like that. So Liquid just know that they can pressure the lanes as hard as they want.
Mentioning fast starting timings as well. Carter with the 16-minute agonies on Mirana. This is going to be pretty devastating if they can get a jump onto Newbie. Newbie are playing it a lot more safe now, keeping themselves right in the jungle. Already moving in, under cover of Timberman's invis ring. He may be able to set something up here. Scan from Liquid's going to confirm the suspicions that Newbie are around in the neighborhood. Moonlight as well. They're going to look to set up on Howl, but they've got a sentry down, and Howl immediately rages in reaction, backs away. See how deep Liquid want to go, but Timberman, he's moving forward for this. The arrow will connect onto Tron. Howl jumps inside, and it may not be a safe bet. Goes for the lasso. Now coming back out, but again, Howl's got to get the hell out of there, Tron. It looks enough to TP out as well. It's a good song from Caitlyn. Allow Dude to get away, but it's not going to save himself. Get breathe on there. Kuroki actually has the end to bring back Twan. 3 dead on Newbie. It's 12-0. 17 minutes in. Liquid looking like absolute championship material this game.
KP is regretting his decision so much there to try to save his teammates. Like, he pops Song, gives him enough time to be able to escape, saw the X coming out from Kuro, and then all of a sudden he just loses his own life because of it, and that's just more gold lost, delaying the Radiance even more. Not a single kill for Newbie. Like, Liquid, they're just playing so well this game.
This is absolutely remarkable stuff at the moment from a team that did struggle, of course, off the back of the group stages, coming through the lower bracket, going up against Na'Vi, moving forward from that one, but now against Newbie, it's certainly on paper looked to be the tougher challenge, but already in game one, Liquid with a very convincing start to the series, 18 minutes in, and as you said, Newbie yet to be able to even make a dent in the armor of Liquid's lineup.
Is under attack.
Still some Dota left to be played here. I think the one shortcoming in Liquid's lineup is they're not really great at killing Roshan. So it's still going to take, I think, a little while for them to breach tier 3s, and there's always an opportunity for a Bat Rider Lasso, pull somebody to base, or, you know, Naga Siren eventually gets to that Radiance and can start pushing out lanes a bit. The only problem is that Liquid have a ridiculous amount of wave players. So they have Ags Morana, they have an Ember Spirit, Caustic with the Sanctity, and a Keeper. So they can push waves like nobody's freaking business. And that is not really a great thing when you're playing from behind as Naga. You want at least 1 or 2 lanes to be pushed out all the time. I'm kind of thinking to myself that Liquid are more or less going to have to make a mistake right now if Newbie want to make a comeback.
Mid lane, looks like Liquid have got eyes on making a play, but Newbie already moving themselves away. One thing, of course, as well, with the lineup the Liquid's got, they can keep all of the lanes pressured in so well. Just using the Ember Spirit in combination with the X March from Kunka, they can just control all the lanes and always be in the right place for the right fight at the right time. Moving down towards the bottom, Newbie, back away.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
And still, the lead continues for Liquid. I mean, what is the best play for Newbie here? Is it just on getting the space for KP so he can push the lanes back out, keep the game going, and get this to a time that the heroes of Newbie are going to really come online? But as I say that, I mean, Liquid, they're not going to be too shabby in the late game either, if Newbie are able to extend the game.
No, their late game isn't necessarily even that bad. This Twan looked like he was going with a lifestealer that's trying to go for a kill. And I don't think they're going to be able to find anything. Oh, who's going to find?
Jarks brings Father in, and immediately Newbie forced back. They're being very careful at the moment, Newbie. They know that they really can't afford to lose another fight. 20 minutes in, with the game being in the state as it is.
The Liquid are doing a very good job of not getting caught out by either the Bat Rider or the next combination, because Lifestealer can be just infested into either one. And if one of the supports are isolated, they can get picked off, and that just gives maybe a little bit of map control. So Liquid have not given up a thing. Like, they are just standing firm. We're not going to give away a pick. We're not going to let you re-establish that map control. We're just going to continually apply pressure until you break.
And of course, Liquid just realizing how strong they are as the full 5-man at the moment.
Dire's
keeping
middle
themselves
tower
together.
is under attack.
Put the pressure on mid. Newbie, right back in the base, just giving Liquid this space to push in, knowing that at this moment in time
Radiant's
they
bottom tower
can't stop
is
the
under
full 5
attack.
push.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
I mean, are there any other big iron pickups in the foreseeable future that could turn the tides for a fight for Newbie?
I'm not entirely sure if there's one item that's going to do it. It's more like KP needs a lot of items,
Dire's
like 2
middle
more
tower
on top
is
of what he
under
has.
attack.
And I mean, the same
Radiant's
problem
bottom
that
tower is under
you
attack.
spoke about earlier is still kind of occurring. Like, Newbie don't have good ways of pushing out the wave. So if you can't push out the wave, then you can never really
Dire's
create
middle
moments
tower
where
has fallen.
Liquid are isolated, because they feel like, okay, if we have all lanes pushed, we can kind of stick together, farm as a group, you know, walk through the jungle, go top, walk through the jungle, go mid, stuff like that. And then the Nyx and the Bat aren't really going to be able to reliably find pickoffs. When that happens, Newbie are feeling like, oh, our only wave putter hero is Naga. That's it. Liquid have, I mean, even Hecta Kunkka farms the wave pretty well. So they have almost 5 heroes that have good wave play.
And Jarex, as we can see as well, just with the space and time that the Liquid have with the amount of pressure and control they have on the map, he's closing in on the Aghanim Scepter. And we have seen many times before how devastating that can be for the opponent, especially when the team comes to pushing high ground. And Liquid are going to be able to stay there, remain there. They can even send people back to base with the X marks if they need topping up. Now with the Chakra, with the Illuminate, it's going to be so hard for Newbie to slow this
Radiant's
one
middle
down.
tower is under attack.
It's getting really hard to start to see the Silver Lantern. Maybe they can find a kill. Epicenter of both sides with the Kaka. It's going to be the 1-1 trade. He didn't quite make it. Fought against the arrow after the rage. And how? He's got to run. He's got to hide. But the hold on the trade. And the Timberman coming in as well. How? He's going to lose his life by the blue. Trying to fight back. It's not going to work. And Newbie may have been able to find the first kill of the game for themselves, but they end up losing 2, and it really is not a trade that they want to take. How going down again on the lifestealer.
It's been such a struggle for him. Ever since the beginning of the game, like his net worth is what you would expect, like maybe an offlaner to be at this stage in the game. So Moo's kind of reflective of what a normal offlane would be. I mean, even he hasn't had the best game. He's only been involved in their only kill, I should say.
Dire's bottom
He's
tower
14 to
is
1
under
right now,
attack.
but yeah, it's still a struggle for Newbie. Their biggest issue is being behind with no wave clear and heroes that need to be able to gank is not a good combination. Because in order to gank, you need access to the enemy team side of the map, or you need to know where they are and be able to split them up.
Are fortified.
And you can't split them up if you can't clear the wave, because you never force them back. There's no reason for Liquid to leave their side of the map unless they feel like Newbie just smoke is fine. So this is a very precarious situation for Newbie here. It's only 23 minutes in. You kind of just have that looming sense of Liquid needs to mess up. That's what needs to happen. And you can tell that Liquid understand their lineup very well because they're not trying to kill Roshan. Trying to kill Roshan, I think, might be a bit of a mistake for them because Newbie have a good team around the pit. Like just being able to lasso somebody, pull them on the cliff, Nyx getting a stun in there, Naga Siren Song. It's all very, very scary for them. So I think Liquid can delay it for as long as they like and just maintain map control. And then when they're so far ahead that they feel like there's no way they can possibly lose, then they can try to go for it.
Liquid, of course, just being a team that's played at the caliber that we expect, it's very, very high level. It's the chances of them messing up, especially on a stage like this, they're not that high, are they? Something's going to have to go very wrong
is under
for
attack.
Liquid to drop
Radiant
when they're this
structures
far
are
ahead.
fortified.
Yeah, it's not even just about how far ahead they are, it's with the lineup that they're far ahead with, and against what Newbie have when it's as far behind as it is. Because the Naga Siren Illusions aren't tanky enough to push the wave reliably. And since every single hero on Liquid has some form of burst damage, they just kill the illusions too fast, and KP can't really create as much space as he would like. I mean, he's doing everything that he can, realistically. And up until this point,
Radiant's
you know,
bottom tower
he's only
has
died
fallen.
twice, and he's still farming at a pretty decent rate. Like, he's up there with Vata, and he's up there with Matumba Man. But there's only so much one Naga Siren can do.
Absolutely, especially as we're seeing against the course of Liquid. Trump hanging around down bottom, but of course on his own. Rather unlikely that he can try and make a play. And Jarex, even himself, most of the Ags nearly built. It's not really a kill that Trump can go for, and in case
Dire's
it's
bottom tower
certainly going
is
to be
under
that way.
attack.
Let's get some backup. How? TP's into the lane. If Jarex comes up a little bit, how might see the chance to come down and
He should be
follow
there.
through Tron's initiation? Yeah, Jarex, he's a little bit too cheeky here. In comes out, and they will punish the keeper of the life. Jarex getting a little bit too greedy with his positioning there on his own down on the bottom lane.
Yeah, I think he just wanted to be able to finish up the Aghanims. So that's just a little bit of greed, which is, I mean, it's not a big deal. You kill the Keeper of the Light, the tier 1's already dead, you're not going to be able to really counter pressure anything. Liquid are at a stage where I don't even think that they need to back with one hero being dead. This really depends on if maybe you want to try to go somewhere in force and kind of get control of their jungle, because right now Matumba Man's just kind of chilling there at Fata, and they don't really have that much fear.
Timberman, he's found Moo, goes with the Remnant, but it's not quite enough damage. He will be able to flap his wings, get himself back to safety. But as we're seeing at this point, it's very hard for individual heroes at the side of Newbie to come out on the map without Liquid being there ready to jump on them and punish them. Still 14 for 2, 26 minutes in, heavy lead for Liquid. And the question is, of course, how, or if it's going to change when they do go for the high ground push. But as we're saying, there's not a lot of pressure on Liquid with the lineup that they have. Schwan coming in with Hal. See if he can find a pick, but at the same time, if he goes in for a fight, Liquid will react. They have the full team down in their jungle.
They can't guard this. This is way too dangerous.
They do have the rest of Newbie coming in from the north. Mark actually going to reveal himself, try and go for Kuroki, but immediately gets himself away. Moonlight goes for they have the attention. They don't how. Just Roses, TP's out. The X-Man will be like, no, they might get How. He didn't manage to successfully escape. Twan's down. How is looking for Kuroki, but he's not going to get it. Liquid there to back him up. Kuroki, can he toggle his way out? Oh, he's doing it. Kuroki with the arm. He's out. And Newbie again losing two off the back of the bad initiation, and at this point, Andy, it just feels like frustration plays from Newbie.
It's desperation more than anything else. They understand how far behind they are, and they feel like they need to make a play. You know, you have this Nyx assassin and this Bat Rider, and neither one of them have really been able to do much. So they go into an engagement where they have pretty much zero vision. The Nyx walked around a little bit, but he didn't thoroughly scout the area, so he didn't realize how many Liquid members were actually there. And that's why I was saying it was too dangerous, because you're going in blind, more or less. When you kind of need to know how many heroes you're going to be fighting before you fight them. And unfortunately for newbies, they just feel way too pressured right now. They're throwing haymakers, more or less.
Now we can see here, I mean, just how, look at him. He wants that Kuroki. And it does take a fair while for Liquid to bring him down. But Kuroki, there's one. And there's going to be the second toggle there as well. There's another day in the office for Kuro as he walks it off.
That's the problem with being a lifestealer, is you have a very set attack speed at every stage of the game, so toggling those kind of auto attacks is just like, it's easy peasy, you know?
Kuroki, of course, with Hood picked up as well. It's going to get even harder for Newbie to take him down. He's going to put them off though, Chuan. He's up it. Scan from Newbie, just checking potentially if anything was behind Kuroki.
Well, they did show bottom, so there's maybe a little bit of a better chance that they want to try to go for something.
And they're going to bring Kuroki away.
Okay, they're pulling him out, yeah. That's a good call. They don't really need to split up a whole lot right now. Although I mean, it is 16-2, but we also need to recognize the fact that breaking high ground for Liquid is going to be tough because they don't really have the heroes hitting towers.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I guess the best is what Fada. They do have obviously the sustain from the Keeper of the Light to keep them pushing in, but yeah, it's not going to be a full siege for Liquid at this moment. Ooh, two. See if we could catch anyone out there. Immediate TP's out from Newbie. Looks like he's just off the vision. He'll get away, Kaka. He's not going to be as lucky though. Mind control. Catches him out in the tree line.
Radiant's top tower
Timmerman comes in to seal the deal. Another kill for Liquid. It just goes on and on and on. This lead that they've had since the very beginning of the game, it's just never been in Newbie's ballpark, this one. There's been a little bit of a turnaround when the game kind of slows down. We're going to see it go after Fada. Can he get himself out of this? He's got to leave the stun too long. And Newbie, exactly what they needed. A lot of money going away for Hal from that kill.
Man, did they need that. That is one of the best, if not the best hero to kill at this point. I guess you could argue Ember is almost equal value at this stage. But yeah, that was absolutely necessary if Newbie want to stay in this game. They need to pick cores multiple times. You know, once you get one kill, it's kind of a bit easier to snowball because then the map starts to break up a bit and Liquid maybe decide, okay, let's go try to farm on our downtime. And that's another opening. You know, maybe Moo gets a lasso. Maybe they can turn it around step by step. But there's still a lot of work left to be done here for Newbie.
If we can see though, of course, KP as well, the progression on this Naga Siren. It's been absolutely perfect for the Naga. On top of the net worth, 17k. The build going very, very well, but as we mentioned, Liquid do have ways to deal with it. But it certainly seems, you know, maybe it starts to bite Liquid a bit back in the foot, the fact that they don't have ways of breaking the high ground. And we may very well see this game get to a point where Newbie are able to swing it back around a little bit, but I can't expect to see Newbie just suddenly snap back and bring it right back over to the side of Liquid, because they themselves, they're going to be able to stop Newbie in turn pushing onto their high ground if it gets to that point. But we can certainly see this game begin to level out if the game continues at this pace.
Yeah, for sure. If Liquid fail a high ground push or fail a Roshan, you know, Newbie can bring the game back almost one really, really good team fight. It might take two just to even the net worth difference and the experience, but the Naga Siren is getting closer and closer to the Octarine core. Once that happens, KP is going to be able to keep the lanes pushed out even more reliably with the lower cooldowns going. Liquid, with their inability to really take Roshan that fast, That's really the thing I feel is hurting them the most, is they can't get an Aegis up on a hero and just hit the buildings. That's what they want to be able to do that, and they just can't with their heroes. I guess having the Aghanims on the Keeper of the Light might help a bit, but it is nighttime right now.
Liquid, maybe seeing if they could get a pick off around the Roche pit. He was in the neighborhood, as we can see as well. Move, closing in on...
I'll blame it. Man's actually going to get picked off.
Oh, wow. Swan and How. I mean, this 1-2 combo, that was not expected. I mean, this has got to be worrying for Liquid in terms of wanting to push out the lanes with these split push heroes like the Ember Spirit.
Well, this is why I was mentioning that Assassin is like one of the absolute best heroes against Ember Spirit, because if you accidentally walk through a lane with Flame Guard, or you even have a Battle Fury and you don't turn your Flame Guard on, the Nyx can stand on the other side of the creeps and hit Carapace, and you get stunned. And as soon as you get stunned, it's a free impale, Lifesteal is beating on you, you're dead. Ember does not build tank items. He builds all damage and a Blink Dagger. So a Lifesteal will shred you and is able to just hit you.
Especially, yeah, with that death so complete on How. More chance to rip through the line of the Liquid. Liquid, I mean, with those kind of pickoffs happening, how do they avoid that? Is it just a case of getting better warding out on the map, or is it a case of Liquid going back to this form of sticking together as 5 and just being a little bit more careful when one of them goes out as 5?
The issue with sticking together as 5 at this point is that the Naga Siren actually has enough items to start pushing lanes now, and the more lanes that she can push, then that means that Liquid are going to want to try to have at least one hero away from the fight, or from the rest of the squad, and that's usually going to be the Superman, because Ember is one of the better deep pushers they have. If it's not him, it's going to be Fata. So between those two, one of them's not going to be there. And if the Nyx Assassin manages to catch you with a Carapace into a stun, you could just very well die. And because like grouping up as 5 doesn't necessarily mean they're even going to be able to go high ground, they're kind of in the situation now where the Nagas come online and they're not able to get an Aegis, and they can't hit tier 3s. Like this is a very, very big problem when you pick Ember, is most of the time you're really good at fighting
Radiant's
and you
middle
can defend
tower is
forever.
under attack.
Like if newbies start walking into the base, you have double sleight of fist with a chakra, it's going to be really hard for newbie to break that high ground. They will eventually whittle it down just because of illusions. Liquid don't have that kind of utility. They just have one ranged core that can really attack the tier 3s.
Radiant's top
Couple of
tower
big
is
iron
under
pickups.
attack.
Full side Liquid in the form of the
Radiant
Timberman, nearly
structures
finished off the
are fortified.
Daedalus, and Mind Control nearly with the Ags complete the Sand King. Quick defense from Mind Control. He's going to be fine, he's X-marked up. There's a fair few of Newbie here. Newbie ball back.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
And they'll turn this into a push on the bottom.
Radiant's
maybe,
middle
Liquid.
tower
Coming
is
in
under
heavy
attack.
on the bottom. Newbie still up top, two things done back. Maybe ready to try and go. At the moment, just move backed up, and the rest of the TP starting to follow through on Newbie. Liquid hanging around for this.
With the Keeper Aghanims, I think it's a good call to
Dire's
try to group up and do
bottom
this.
tower is under
Because they
attack.
realized what they were doing is not working. They were getting
Radiant's
heroes
top
picked off
tower
and
is
giving
under attack.
a newbie a way back into the game. So I think this is the right call.
You can see this with Ferocious Tidebringer, the slight fist from a Timberman can clear out the waves that come out. At the same time, How realizing that at the moment he's
Radiant
not needed back
structures
at
are
base. He's going to keep the pressure on. There will be a TP coming down from Timberman. Just to quickly slide the wave and
Radiant's
push it
top
back, but
tower
How
has
climbs,
fallen.
claims himself the tower, TP's out. So gets the objective done. Liquid certainly struggling with this push, and it's only going to get harder now that How's been brought back to the defensive.
What they can do is they can just joust the base over and over again, just keep using Illuminate to heal everyone up, and just get little bits of damage. And because of the fact that everyone on the side of Newbie is sitting inside of the base, it's not like they're getting anything more out of the situation. They're just watching their tier 3 slowly die. And that's still an advantage for Liquid.
Coming through, the jumping, wants to move, personal range speed, look at take out bottom of the inside of the base, move, he's going to keep himself alive with the BKB, Kuroki, left alone on the front line, so new, the slide through from the Timberman's not enough damage, and KP with the song, Newbie's coming in, they're a bit riled, Liquid is trying to break the base, jumping out, they'll get themselves down to the south, Liquid on the retreat, we'll see if KP can get a lap, with the net, he's got the gem, he's got the net, and Mind Control, take him down as well. And Newbie with the defense, and Liquid, I can't help but feel, Andy, this is really going to throw them off their momentum if this continues to happen. Sitting outside the base as 5, trying to push in, but Newbie able to stop you, moving into Roshan. They're going to be able to take the Aegis. Liquid maybe slowly falling apart.
That was the opening that Newbie needed to. Like, after that defense, even though they only killed 2 heroes, securing the Roshan, this is a huge win for Newbie. Now all of a sudden, you know, KP's net worth, he's like almost 1 full item higher than the next person on the list. He's going to be able to push out the lanes a lot easier. The deep push from Liquid is becoming less effective just because of how much tankier the illusions are. And once again, showcasing that even if you're winning and you're keeping all the lanes pushed, you still need to be able to break base. I think Liquid might be kicking themselves right now for not just grouping up right away as soon as the Keeper of the Light got Aghanims, because they had such an advantage at that point, but they waited until KP farmed like 1 extra item on top of it, and I think that when you get the Aghanims as Liquid's lineup, that's the let's go point, that we need to end the game right now. So instead of doing that, they split up. They get heroes picked off. It gives Newbie an opportunity to get more items. You know, that 1 kill that Hao got on Fata was like 1,000 gold. Like, that's the kind of stuff that brings Newbie back into the game, and I think that Liquid just executed it quite a bit with their game plan.
And as we can see with these plays and these defenses from Newbie, do you think there's a part of the side when they went into the draft that realized that the beginning of the game was going to be a bit tough, and they'd always planned to be able to kind of calm it down and bring it back round?
Well, they might have had some idea that it was going to be tough, but not as tough as it was. Like, Liquid were just crushing them for the beginning of the game. And I just think that Newbie relied on their heroes just kind of countering what Liquid wanted to do, especially towards like the mid-lane game. Living life on the edge.
Certainly needs to be careful with the full 5-mana Liquid here. Newbie, they are here in quite strong force as well. Have all the ultimates available. They don't want to come and jump move. Goes into that side Liquid, and you can see the reaction. Moonlight comes down with a great vision. The slide coming down on the move. Possibly can be getting himself on the side of Hao. Goes to mind control. Takes down the Sand King. Could they give themselves anything more here? Liquid trying to retreat. Kuroki looking to get themselves down the tree on the Kummerman. Out of place by the disruption. See if they can follow through with any kind of stun. If they've caught him, then KP can't quite do it on the Kummerman. Still alive. He's going to get brought back to base. Will be saved. Only
Radiant's
just,
middle
but
tower
again,
is under attack.
Newbie coming out of these engagements on top. It is just the 1 kill, but this has got to be continually just more worrying for the side of Liquid that they're losing fights when they had the lead that they did in the early game.
There's another problem too right now for Liquid is the fact that they can't kill the Lifestealer. So whenever he pops Rage and he has that vessel that he just invested into when he jumps on a target, there is absolutely nothing that Liquid can do outside of throwing a boat to save him. Like, I don't really think anyone... Okay, there's a couple of 4 stats, but more often than not, if he gets on a target, he's going to kill. He runs SOI, he has space, he runs extremely fast. And I think they're very good about how they put their disables on the hero the Lifestealer is going for, so their teamfight coordination is also on point. That was one of the big reasons why I actually favor their draft, is because when the Lifestealer gets on somebody and there's 1 disable, the hero should pretty much just be dead, and there's not really anything that Liquid can do about it. But now, a little bit further behind now, Liquid. And the problem now is because since the lanes are pushed, you know, we talked about everyone like, splitting up all over the map, because that's what happens when your lanes get pushed, you have to go deep. This is the kind of gameplay that Newbie wants. They want you to split up, they want the Nyx and the Batrider to be able to find pickoffs. And Liquid now have this kind of situation where they need to decide, okay, can we push all the lanes, can we push only 2, and then hope that we can find some kind of fight.
And this is... It really has been just KP as well, just keeping his composure. In all the lanes, fumbling around him at the start, but top of the board, he's played absolutely perfectly, avoiding being caught out by the side Liquid. I mean, the thing I'm happy about, Andy, is we're seeing a game, it's going to potentially go late, and there's an Ember on the back foot, he's stocking up the gold, we could see a Rapier on the Timmerman this match.
It's very possible. I think Keeper of the Light is one of the best pairings with Ember as well. Having the double sleight of hand with the Chakra Man is always really nice.
Tower is under attack.
Again with the smoke into the jungle, but at the same time, Liquid, they move out themselves. Both avoiding each other, but this is going to mean that maybe we'll have the high ground of Liquid back
Radiant's
up.
middle
Liquid,
tower is under
they're going to continue to move around. The line's being drawn by Kuro. They want to do a sweep at the jungle of Newbie. Neither team will catch each other out with this movement.
It should be fairly obvious to Newbie that
Radiant's
something's going
middle
on.
tower
And
is under
they
attack.
look like they just anticipated there might have been smoke. And they're not really scared of taking a 5 versus 5 engagement. They know their Lifestealer is extremely tanky right now.
Radiant's
And if
middle tower
worst
is under
scenario
attack.
happens, they can just go ahead and pop stomp.
Radiant's middle
We
tower
have it a tier
is
2
falling.
down. Carter coming across under the cover of Moonlight though, and Newbie will be happy with the objective and back on. I'm sure they'll be very happy with the state that they've managed to bring this game back round to. I mean, I don't know if you can have a look at the net worth graph, but yeah, it's gone straight back round past 0. It has gone to that point. As we said, you know, if this was next up, Newbie, they're going to be able to stabilize the game.
This is why all the panelists favored Nubi's draft, because if it gets to this point, it's very difficult for Liquid. They don't really have the tools they need to be able to breach the high ground. They can't kill the Lifestealer.
Radiant's top
The Naga
tower
Siren's
is under
getting
attack.
way too out of control in regards to farm. They just had a very, very solid early game, and you can't really ask for any better execution than just almost shutting out Nubi for a good stage. Problem is, you have to eventually be able to break base.
Carter. He's got to be
Radiant's
drawn.
courier has been killed.
That was a heavy load on that courier. Potter's going to jump forward looking for Tuan, but he turns around. The Potter from chasing Kaka. He will be left behind. Liquid will punish him. With the presence of the two of them there, allowing them to get that kill on the courier.
And just look at the warding as well from Nubi. They used that smoke the time they had over on Liquid's side of the map to make sure they had plenty of vision. So whenever Liquid are backing up and dealing with the Naga Siren illusions, they'll have pretty much all the information they need to be able to go for the pickups. Nice rage. Very nicely done there from
There's nothing that Liquid can do through that. We've got a lot of stunts and a lot of good calls, but we're seeing Magic Immunity is not something that Liquid's lineup excels on.
Oh god, no. Their heroes just can't do anything to Lifestealer. I mean, they need the Ember Spirit pretty much to get a really lucky crit or buy a Rapier and hope that he's standing on top of a Naga Siren with an army of illusions with a Shadow Demon. That's how they kill him, pretty much. Because there's no way Matuma Man is going to sit there and auto-attack. You just die.
And in terms of the lifesteal as well, it's quite refreshing to see because it feels like we've seen it quite a few times here at TI in just scenarios where it doesn't work. But this game, this lineup, the lifestealer pick, it's perfect.
Yeah, it's a hero that he's very counterable, but if you pick him at the right time, with the right lineup, he can still be devastating. This is one of those situations where that is most certainly true.
See Newbie, going to get aggressive, Newbie jumps in though. In with Timmerman, watch the BKB, at the same time now, How on the sidelines with a 100 pace down to keep her in the line. Now moving in for more, eyeing up Kuroki. Now, being careful as the rages come off. Still move, forcing Kuroki back on the back line though for Timmerman. Remnant Stroke, they're looking for the lockdown, they've got it down. Out of love, and a big kill for Newbie. But Timberman down, 80 seconds on the sidelines, doesn't have a buyback available. We'll see if Newbie able to force it out of him. 44 minutes in, this game gone entirely on its head. And Newbie really wants the advantage here, and we'll see their high ground push, and it's certainly going to be a lot stronger than Liquid were able to offer against them earlier on.
Without the Ember Spirit, they just can't deal with the push. Like, all How has to do is walk up the hill and hit rage. And realistically, they can't.
And the illusions, of course. This illusion-based push is so hard to stop. Get the jump in, out, Radiant as well. There's two at the back, the boat coming through the house, get the range up. The apple goes down.
Radiant's middle barracks are under attack.
And as you can hear, the crowd understandably very impressed with the way that Newbies played this game. They were put right on the back foot. They brought it right round. And they will clear out the mid lane of Rax here. But Timberman decides to hold on to his buyback. They'll let the Rax go. How now with a Daedalus. Newbie there, looking for more. Immediately moving around to the bottom lane. Still 30 seconds without Kuroki. They're going to have a Timberman back up. Liquid. Line control, not quite long enough. Can't get the clip on. Looks like Newbie will offer a little bit of mercy now. They're back up. As we can see this graph, it's absolutely devastating for Liquid. Butterflies picked up by KP.
I think it just goes to show how fragile Liquid's lineup actually is.
And Axe on Nyx Assassin.
This is a nightmare to deal with. Like, this, in my opinion, is like the best Aghanims in the game, like bar none. Having the Shoulder Impale cooldown with like doubles or triples of range, something ridiculous like that. Same thing for Mana Burn. And the best part about it is being able to burrow and just pop Spike Carapace and just hit any hero that's in the vicinity. That way it doesn't require you actually being hit. That part about it is just so good. But I really love the Nyx pick in general. I thought that was one of the best heroes they could have hit against Liquid's lineup. Newbie now feeling very confident, in control. Roshan's going to be up in about a minute and 20 seconds. And Liquid, if they can't make something happen between that time, I'd say the Newbie might just walk away with this game.
It's going to be a helpful rune up top for Liquid.
Rune of double damage.
Picked up by Matumba Man. Same time the Newbie, they're going to smoke up, ready for a bit of a clash. Looking to wrap around from the high ground of Liquid side of the map. Move on the lead with Hal inside, and we'll see who catches out first. Father looking to clean up the way, but Newbie jump in. Oh, the left up there. The damage will be falling out to follow. So far is down. But from the back of the BKB. Looking at the side, back up. We're going to take that break. He gets forced back by the blinding light. KP, look at this hard off, and somebody's still down. He pops amongst it all. Outside, mind control again with the bird strike. Liquid looking to take this round. Tron trying to bury himself, but they'll bury him. The speed for 6 feet under. 3 down on Newbie. Still, KP sticking around in the fight. He's got a lot of health. He's incredibly tanky. They can't kill the Naga Siren. Liquid just trying to get themselves out. After taking 3, only losing 2. In the position that Liquid are in, it's a trade they'll be happy with, but Newbie, they certainly are. They want to try and find more. Moving in onto mind control. Jumping forward. They'll take the Sand King as well. Newbie making sure they secure themselves, stopping them on the fight. Superman coming in. He wants to try and look for the star play that the team needs. Jumping into move on the back. Takes one down. KP left alone. Can they kill him? I mean, Matumba Man, he can only just run and blink into the trees. He's got to get himself out. KP looking to cut him off.
The creep wave.
Matumba Man realizes though, with the Duke out into the trees and heading back. At the same time, there's a Shadow Demon closing in for the top. The sun can't quite get him. Matumba Man blinking just out of range. But the plays from both sides starting to come out here.
The big thing about that fight in middle lane was that Matumba Man had an ADS, right? He got like 2 crits with a slight miss and just annihilated Newbie. I think he almost one-shot the Shadow Demon. That was a very unfortunate thing for Newbie, but great for Liquid.
Radiant's middle
I'm looking at
tower
Matumba
is
Man.
under
I'm
attack.
seeing an Ember Spirit that's only 300 gold away from Rapier territory.
I honestly think...
Does he go all in?
I think you kind of have to at this point. It's either that or an MKB. But the problem with MKB is it's good against the Naga Siren because it's Butterfly and a Radiance, and you want to be able to reliably hit the illusions. But I still feel like one of their main concerns is still that Lifestealer. So you're not going to have like a raw damage output that you need to kill him, but you would be able to wave clear the illusions a lot more effectively if you had MKB.
Liquid actually choosing to come out of the base.
Well, they need to. Like, this Roshan is so important.
Songs up though for Newbie. They've got the tools available to fight around it. You can see the warning from Liquid, giving them a very clear vision around this area of the map. Move into the pit, start to work away at Roshan. And Newbie already hot on the case, heading down the bottom lane. They're going to look to wrap around from the riverside. Or maybe even from the high ground of Liquid's jungle. It's down to half.
Do they actually not know?
Are they not looking? They're sweeping the jungle, and indeed Newbie at the moment, they're not moving towards the pit at all. It's Liquid. They may just get away with this play. And it looks like they will. They'll take it on Newbie. They'll come in now, but if it's too late, he's just going to be picked up on to the man. This is Evans behind that. Trying to get himself back to the back with a slight fist. Gorgeous taking down the first casualty of this fight. If Newbie can get the flip onto anyone else, Violet allowing people to retreat in the moonlight shadow. Most of them out there. Mind control burrows away. The salt comes out, but it's only going to catch
Radiant's
mind
middle
control. They
tower
do
is
take
under
down the
attack.
SK, get the gem. But Liquid, they keep 3 alive. They took Roshan, took the Aegis, and Matumba Man, that courier's on a delivery, and it looks like Rapier should be hopefully on the menu, and it is. It's coming out now.
Radiant's
The big
bottom
guns
tower
for
is under
Matumba
attack.
Man. Rapier, Aegis, we got ourselves a defense.
Now the problem is he
Radiant's
actually
bottom
needs to
tower
be here
has
with
fallen.
Rapier.
Radiant's bottom
And needs to
barracks
speed up
are
that
under
delivery
attack.
process. In it out. Indeed, as we can see, Newbie hitting down on the racks. Remember, at this point in the game, it's just the middle racks that are down. They've still got 2 lanes of racks up Liquid. Let's have a look. Check out the seat. Timberland jumping in to slide as well now. Ooh, pulling probably low in here. Jumping forward, gets himself a Tron. Him up. The lasso onto Fada, but Timberland's still going to remain on the sideline. Has the slide of this back. And Liquid are going to be okay
Radiant's
with this.
middle
They hold
tower
the
is under
defense.
attack.
Get everyone out.
Dire's top tower is under
Newbie,
attack.
though, they will retreat. and will be punished. But this is the point where the game is on, Andy.
That was a 1300 damage crit on the Howl, by the way. That was some insane damage. If they had even just a little bit more, they might have been able to take him down. And that would have been a big opportunity because he's about to finish his AC. He's got the Hyperstone in his inventory already. He's only a few hundred gold away from having the completed item. And he's going to mitigate a lot more of that damage now, so you're not going to get many more opportunities to chunk him like that.
You see how aggressive they could go with this.
Dire's
this
top tower is under attack.
Everyone's up, but you see they're hugging the tier 3s in the moment.
Well, he did reveal himself, so catapult hit him.
And one's probably coming out from the side of Newbie. I mean, Liquid, obviously with this newfound Rapier and the Aegis, is this the time for them to go and try for a push? Do they just have to wait for Newbie, but at the same time, will Newbie hold back their push until the Aegis times out?
I don't... It's really hard to say. The whole thing about Rapier on the Ember Spirit is that you can defend for almost an indefinite amount of time, assuming that you have the Keeper of the Light, like Systemic Chakra on you, but fighting in the open is much more hectic. There's not a guarantee that you're going to get good Sleight of Fist because you're not fighting all these creeps and heroes through one small choke point. It could be a very disjointed and chaotic fight for Liquid if they want to do it outside of the base. I mean, now would potentially be the best time because they have Aegis on Matuma Man. And maybe they're feeling uncomfortable letting Newbie get to their base again.
Definitely gets the jump and move. And across. He's got how in an impact. He just gets the catch of the mark. He's got one buys back immediately. Realize he's going to be needed the fight. Strike coming out from the Tumba. He's going to stare up here. Going to find the follow-up. And the Timberman's going to be able to walk it off. Moves to it out. He's the same chance to he ends up running back in. He's trying to hold Newbie out. How? In the middle of it all though, gets the range. And the Timberman again in control for the time being. Clearly puts out right, but it loves the Roki. How taking down Farah. Could be by back to Roki twice. Putting him into the match. He's going to jump up. What is it? He can't run down.
We run.
Liquid running crazy for work in this fight now. He's going to be fine. He's down by control as well. He's taken two. It's going to be enough to fly back from Howard's one. They realize this is the time to finish up the
Radiant's
game.
bottom barracks are under attack.
And it may all be over here in game 1 for Liquid. They tried to put it out, but look at the financial damage and GG.
Radiant's top tower is under attack. Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
Liquid with the early game dominance for Newbie. They controlled the game perfectly. They brought it back down into their realm. And at the end of the day, as flashy as the Divine Rapier pickup was, it wasn't enough for the side of Liquid to bring it back. Newbie just playing on another level at the end of that game.
The panelists obviously favored Newbie's draft a little bit. I was on their side, but Liquid had a very strong performance for the first 15 to 20 minutes of that game. They were just completely shutting down Newbie. And then after a couple of pickoffs, I think Fata was one of the most important ones. When he died, gave away about 1,000 gold.
I mean, his Nix's stats and performances, you